Never celebrate on graves, because once you awaken the dead, they will never let you go. The film opens with a tense and unsettling atmosphere as a woman is seen alone in her bedroom, desperately trying to hide while being overwhelmed by intense fear. Without warning, an unseen presence suddenly attacks her violently, leaving her panicked and completely helpless. The mysterious force then wraps a rope around her neck, drags her body, and with the rope still tightly bound, throws her down the staircase, causing her to die in a tragic manner, while a black envelope can be seen lying not far from her hanging body. The scene then shifts to a cemetery, where Harris and his wife, Allison, are attending the funeral of Harris's longtime friend, Devin. After the burial ceremony ends, Harris and Allison visit Devin's house to pay their respects and offer condolences to his family. Unexpectedly, they also run into two other old friends, Kira and Sid. In the past, Harris, Kira, Sid, and Devin were known as a close group of four who spent almost all their time together. But as they grew older and became busy with their own lives, their bond slowly faded, and they rarely met again. Devin's death ultimately becomes the reason they are reunited after such a long time apart. Feeling exhausted, Allison decides to go home first, allowing Harris to stay behind with Kira and Sid to reminisce about the past. The three of them then go out to eat at a restaurant, where Sid suddenly proposes a reckless idea, suggesting that Harris and Kira join him in having one last party on Devin's grave. The idea is immediately rejected because it sounds completely unreasonable, but Sid stubbornly insists on doing it alone.
All right, how about we go someplace else? How about a cemetery?
It's 11. I got work tomorrow.
A cemetery, isn't that a little weird?
What do you want us to do?
Say goodbye together.
When night falls, Sid truly goes to Devin's grave by himself. Not long after, a car suddenly approaches, causing Sid to panic and hide until he realizes that it is actually Harris and Kira arriving with alcohol. They come because Harris cannot bear the thought of letting his friend commemorate the past alone. Eventually, the three of them become immersed in a drinking party right on top of Devin's grave, accompanied by music and an increasingly chaotic atmosphere influenced by the alcohol. Harris begins to feel dizzy and invites Kira to walk away for a moment to get some fresh air. Meanwhile, Sid, who is sitting alone beside Devin's headstone, accidentally discovers a black envelope. In their half-drunk state, Harris and Kira nearly lose control of themselves and almost kiss, until Sid interrupts them by showing the contents of the envelope he has found. Inside are strange lines of writing that seem to encourage them to forget their sorrow, enjoy life, and celebrate at the resting place of the dead. Without truly understanding its meaning, the three of them follow the message and begin dancing in the cemetery. After the party ends, they return to their respective homes. From that night on, strange disturbances begin to haunt their lives, starting with Harris noticing his pet cat meowing for no apparent reason and the house phone suddenly ringing, only for there to be complete silence on the other end when Allison answers the call.
Hello?
2 weeks after the incident at the cemetery, the strange disturbances begin to feel increasingly real. One night, Allison wakes up after hearing faint moaning sounds coming from the bedroom, immediately filling her mind with dark suspicions. Overwhelmed by a mix of anxiety and anger, she assumes Harris is with another woman. She rushes to check the room, only to find it completely empty. Panicking, she runs downstairs while shouting Harris's name, and moments later, Harris appears, leaving Allison feeling both relieved and confused. She then tells him that she has recently been experiencing unsettling events, ranging from invisible knocking at the door to strange noises that constantly disturb her peace of mind.
Harris! All this stuff around the house started happening. The doors. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
The next day, Harris decides to install a home alarm system in hopes of finding out what is truly haunting their lives. However, while setting it up, the sound of a piano suddenly begins to play inside the house, even though Harris knows that only he and Allison live there, and at that moment, Allison is not at home. Feeling uneasy, Harris immediately checks the piano, but once again finds no one there. The following night, while Harris and Allison are asleep, their pet cat suddenly meows loudly, waking them both. Harris goes downstairs to investigate, while Allison stays in the bedroom, still half asleep. During his inspection, the piano music is heard again, forcing Harris to grab a golf club to protect himself as he approaches the sound. Yet just like before, no one is there. At the same time, Allison experiences something far more terrifying as she senses the presence of a frightening woman inside her bedroom, causing her to flee in fear while calling out for Harris. When Harris returns to the room, the figure has vanished without a trace. Shortly afterward, the police arrive at their house after hearing Allison's screams, but Harris and Allison choose to say that nothing is wrong to avoid further complications. After the police leave, Allison finally reveals in a trembling voice that the woman she saw that night looked very similar to Kira. Driven by concern, they immediately go to Kira's house that same night. Upon arriving, Harris and Allison are shocked to see the house in complete disarray, with strange writings covering the walls. As they cautiously explore the interior, Kira suddenly appears, behaving in a disturbing and unstable manner. Harris quickly tells Allison to call the police while he checks the bathroom and witnesses firsthand how severe Kira's condition has become. Worried about her safety, Harris and Allison take Kira to the hospital. After receiving treatment, the doctor explains that Kira has bite marks from something that cannot be medically identified, and they are still waiting for psychological evaluation results due to signs of severe mental distress. When the situation seems to calm down, Allison asks permission to go to the restroom while Harris waits outside the treatment room. During that time, Harris receives a phone call from Sid, urgently asking him to come to his house because of a serious problem. Meanwhile, as Allison walks toward the restroom, she witnesses a horrifying sight when a body covered with a white sheet suddenly begins to bleed and abruptly grabs her hand. Allison screams hysterically, throwing the hospital into chaos. Not wanting to take any further risks, Harris and Allison immediately head to Sid's house. There, they find that Sid is also living in fear, as he has been experiencing constant and disturbing supernatural events in his home. In search of answers, Sid calls in two paranormal investigators he knows, Vincent and Francis.
Hey, I think I'm being haunted. Noises and footsteps, and there's these little fires.
Vincent Cochet, and who are you?
Harris and Allison.
We are from the parapsychology department.
In front of them, Harris, Allison, and Sid recount everything that has happened, including the drunken party at the cemetery and the black envelope they discovered that night, while Francis records the entire explanation for documentation. After hearing the story, Vincent concludes that they are most likely under a curse caused by the black envelope, which turns out to be a form of spirit summoning ritual. In the middle of their discussion, scorched footprints suddenly appear on the floor, further convincing Vincent that they are dealing with an unnatural and dangerous force. To begin handling the situation, Vincent gives them his home address and asks Sid and the others to come see him the following day.
I'm Vincent Cochet, paranormal investigator.
It started with noises, thumping, scratching.
Do you remember when you first noticed the activities? Did you see each other at the time?
Well, yeah,
Maybe 3 weeks ago
saw each other at the funeral.
at night.
Look, Sid got drunk and pissed on a grave.
We also sort of danced.
What?
Kira also go back to the cemetery.
Yeah? Sid found a card about dancing. Yes, we danced on graves.
Giant burning footprints.
The next day, Sid arrives at Vincent's house together with Harris and Allison, hoping to gain a deeper understanding of the curse that has fallen upon them. Vincent explains that the curse from the black envelope is not permanent and should only last for 30 days. But what makes it dangerous is that the energy of the spirits grows stronger with each passing day, eventually becoming aggressive enough to take a person's life. To trace the source of the problem, Vincent takes them back to the cemetery where they had their drunken gathering, hoping to uncover any clues they might have missed. Upon arriving, Vincent carefully examines the grounds, documenting every strange sign he finds as part of his investigation.
Why are they so pissed?
They clearly don't dig it.
This is the spot.
Yeah, this looks familiar. Why not just kill us now?
Maybe they are not strong enough yet.
At the same time, something terrifying happens at the hospital where Kira is being treated. A nurse performing a routine check suddenly senses that something is wrong when she sees Kira hiding under the bed with a terrified expression, trembling as if trying to avoid something unseen. Moments later, the nurse is suddenly attacked by an invisible force, throwing the hospital into chaos. After hearing about the disturbance, Harris, Allison, and Sid rush back to the hospital. They try to calm Kira down and reassure her that they have already taken steps to stop the curse that is tormenting them. Unable to stand staying in the hospital any longer, Kira ultimately decides to escape with them. Meanwhile, Vincent manages to gather deeper information about the three spirits believed to be responsible for the disturbances. He explains that the spirits are furious because their graves were trampled during the party. The first spirit is Dennis, a 5-year-old boy who was frequently ill during his lifetime and had an unhealthy obsession with fire, which eventually led to a tragic incident when he burned his toys and caused his house to catch fire, killing both himself and his entire family. The second spirit is Emma, a music teacher from the early 20th century, who became involved in an illicit affair with a married man, a relationship that ended brutally when Emma killed both the man and his wife before being arrested in a horrifying state while playing the piano. The final spirit is William, a respected man known for being religious and charitable, yet secretly harboring a dark side that ultimately led to his tragic end. Vincent then explains that the only way to break the curse is to relocate the remains of all three spirits.
What we have found,
Emma Westbrook. And after Theo ended the affair,
she waited for him to come back and kill him.
she broke into his house and killed his wife.
This is Dennis?
Yes.
Numerous minor blazes, killing Dennis, his 2 siblings, and his parents. The person buried there was William Langer. Family man, charitable, detailing his appetite for bizarre sexual exploits.
They are all getting stronger.
Without wasting any time, they return to the cemetery that very night and begin digging up the graves. The process is far from easy, as constant disturbances arise, as if something is trying to stop them. Despite overwhelming fear and pressure, they eventually succeed in retrieving the bones of the three spirits. The remains are then moved and reburied in Vincent's spacious backyard, where Vincent leads a prayer so the spirits can finally rest in peace and stop haunting their lives. For a brief moment, the three friends feel a sense of calm and begin to return to their normal routines. However, that peace does not last long. The following night, the disturbances begin again. Harris, who is asleep, suddenly wakes up to a terrifying presence nearby, while elsewhere Sid is attacked by a childlike entity associated with fire, nearly burning his house down.
This shit ain't over.
Although Sid survives, the incident proves that the ritual has not fully resolved the curse. Realizing that the problem is far from over, they return to Vincent's house seeking answers. Vincent himself is visibly confused, as the relocation ritual should have been enough to end the curse. Yet instead, the terror only grows stronger and more uncontrollable. For the time being, Vincent tells Harris, Allison, Sid, Kira, and Francis to stay inside his house so they can shelter themselves from any further attacks. However, Harris begins to doubt Vincent's abilities and feels that the house is no longer safe. He insists on leaving, but Sid stops him, leading to a heated argument. In the middle of the tense situation, Sid accidentally reveals that Harris had kissed Kira while they were drunk at the cemetery. Hearing this, Allison feels devastated and struggles to accept the truth. Wanting a direct explanation, Allison asks Kira to speak with her privately. Before their conversation can finish, an unseen force attacks Vincent's house once again. In the chaos, Kira runs upstairs into one of the rooms, but there she suffers the most brutal attack from William's spirit.
Running upstairs.
When Harris and the others rush upstairs, they find Kira in critical condition, her neck badly injured by shards of broken glass. Panicking, they try to carry her downstairs to get help, but the spirits suddenly cause iron fences to rise and surround the entire house, trapping them completely with no way out. Vincent attempts to call for help, but his phone has no signal at all, and in the end, Kira dies from severe blood loss. Amid their despair, the reason behind the spirits' renewed rage is finally revealed. Frances admits that she secretly went back to dig up the graves to photograph and record the bodies for documentation because she had forgotten to do so earlier. Her actions reignite the spirit's anger. Harris and the others lash out at Francis for prioritizing documentation over everyone's safety. With no other option left, they decide they must rebury the skulls Francis had taken. As they search through Vincent's house for a way out while gathering the remaining bones, the atmosphere grows tense again when mysterious footprints appear, leading toward the piano. From there, Emma's spirit emerges and attacks them mercilessly.
Maybe she wasn't. Maybe.
Kira.
I don't know if that's a good idea, man.
In the chaos, Francis becomes the next victim and is killed by Emma. Panic consumes everyone. Terrified, Sid runs into another room, only to be attacked by the Firechild spirit. Flames quickly engulf the room, leaving Sid no chance to escape. A small explosion from the fire throws Vincent's body across the room, leaving Harris and Allison as the only survivors. With what little strength they have left, Harris and Allison run upstairs. Harris tells Allison to climb out through a window and try to end everything by reburying the remaining skull. Before the plan can succeed, Emma's spirit appears again, wielding an axe, and attacks Harris. Harris fights back with all his strength, but the spirit's power is far greater than his own. Just as Harris is about to be overpowered, Allison suddenly arrives in a car and slams into Emma, giving them a chance to escape. They immediately rush to the burial site in Vincent's backyard to put an end to everything, but they are attacked once more. Harris tries to throw the skull into the grave, but misses. At that critical moment, Vincent, who has somehow survived the explosion, appears with his body badly burned and manages to place the skull into the grave. After the final ritual is completed, the curse finally disappears. Though they survive, Harris, Allison, and Vincent are left carrying deep physical and emotional scars from everything they have endured. In the final scene, Harris and Allison visit the graves of their three friends, Kira, Sid, and Devin, to pay their last respects. As they prepare to leave, a cemetery caretaker is seen placing a black envelope on a headstone marked Stevenson, suggesting that the curse has not truly ended and that the cycle of terror is ready to pass on to its next victims, repeating the tragedy that once haunted Harris and his friends, and the story comes to an end.